From the Magic Mile, we welcome race fans one and all once again to Green Flag TV. This time we get set to introduce a new league into the fold. It is the off-throttle sim racing Xfinity series from the Magic Mile of New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Hello one and all, and welcome to Loudon. My name is Roberto. Tonight I've got Daniel Paulus Jr. beside me in the broadcast booth, and together we'll be bringing you race number 11 of 12 here for the OTSS Xfinity series here tonight. Daniel, we get set to bring in a new race of the fold, and it's also your first show here on Green Flag TV with us here tonight, and I have a feeling we should be in for a fun one, but a long one as well, as we get set to go racing for 200 laps.
Yeah, Nolan, tonight's going to be an exciting night, and especially here in New Hampshire Motor Speedway, you know, there's tight racing here, you don't know what's going to happen, and it could come down to a last lap pass for the win.
You never quite know when it gets down to races such as these at these flatter tracks. It could even come down to those Hail Marys that we're so used to seeing elsewhere in those bids for those final race wins. Here are the point standings entering tonight's race. Eric Schaefer has entered this race 445 points compared to DJ Honeycutt's 397. He is 48 points clear. He needs to extend that gap up to 53 if he wants to take the championship exiting tonight. But the big story tonight here, right out of the gate, Schaefer's not racing. He is not registered for this race. So with DJ Honeycutt essentially going to be in a good position here for this race, that 48-point lead is going to be obliterated as we get set to set ourselves up for the season finale next week.
Yeah, and that's the one thing I would worry about Eric Schaefer. You know, he's 48 points to the good, in front of DJ Honeycutt, but now that he's not here, DJ Honeycutt's going to get all the points he can, and that's going to tighten up that championship battle for next week's race.
It also brings in the likes of Justin LeBlanc, the driver out of New Brunswick, Canada. He's looking set with 384 points. He is about 13 points down from Honeycutt. If it comes down between just these two, it could very well be a winner-takes-all type of fight when we get down to the Phoenix Raceway just next week. We got qualifying currently underway here from the Hampshire Motor Speedway. We get set to go racing for the 11th race out of 12 here tonight. We are entering this season a little bit late here. We have been brought on board for the final two races and potentially for further beyond if everything goes to plan. But for now, drivers starting to put those lap times down here, Daniel. Jonathan Eason currently sitting provisional pole with a 30.682.
Yeah, and one thing I want to point out, Nolan, is that you don't want to overshoot the turns here in New Hampshire, because if you do that, it's going to wear down the tires. And once you wear down the tires there, it's going to be really hard to be driving in those turns. So far, you see Jonathan Eason. He was first. Now it's DJ Honeycutt's first. What do you guys expect for the first half of this race?
I expect these guys to be wanting to take it a bit easier, right? These guys are going to be having to definitely kind of be mindful of where they're putting those tires. It's a long race, right? And it's not a big field tonight. Only 10 cars going to be taking it for these 200 laps. So that means it's going to be really difficult for these guys to try to settle, or it's going to be easy for these guys to settle into a rhythm, but it's going to be about endurance tonight. It's a long race. It's going to be well over an hour and a half. And I'm thinking at this point, these guys are going to be in for one of the longest nights they've possibly had in their iRacing careers, as the last drivers are getting their way around the racetrack. Justin LeBlanc going to be the final driver to put down a lap time, but he was slower in the first half of the lap. We'll see what LeBlanc can do if he can improve up from the 9th position this time through. And it is not, it'll be a slight improvement, up to P7 for the driver out of Moncton, New Brunswick, currently sitting 7th fastest in his Fox gear, number 85 Ford Mustang. He's going to take a bit of extra practice laps to work his way around the racetrack, and I can't exactly say I blame him. So, qualifying, I mentioned before, about to wrap up here. Got a minute and a half left on the boards, and no other drivers are going to be out here to put down their qualifying laps. Your field is set, so we get set to go racing for 200 laps here tonight. If you're one of these drivers here, Daniel, what do you want to do to survive this opening salvo about 10 to 20 and settle yourself in for the long run?
Well, the one thing I want to point out, Nolan, is the drivers. You don't want to be aggressive around the other drivers early on in this race, because if you cause a wreck or you get the driver upset around you, that's going to retaliate you possibly at the end when you could be in the lead trying to get that win.
And no doubt about it, especially in a field this small, it's not a field of drivers that you want to get angry, because rest assured, they are 100% going to know who you are, and they're going to make sure that you know who they are when we get down and around to the last few laps in this one. Still got about 30 seconds left on the docket, so I want to kind of pull up our championship order here one final time before we go to green flag racing. We of course talked about Honeycutt and LeBlanc, but you also got Donnie Honeycutt sitting just 10 points behind LeBlanc. He could potentially make a run for third place in the point standings, and it is, apart from the run for second place, it is looking mighty tight up here for just about the entirety of the top 10. We'll get back to all of that and more, but for now, as qualifying once again, going to gradually close stuff on now with these final 5 seconds or so here. It's almost time for us to take a rundown of what your starting grid is going to be looking like as we get set to go racing for 200 laps around the Magic Mile here tonight from the New Hampshire Motor Speedway in Loudon. Starting on a pole position then for us here today, it is going to be one DJ Honeycutt with Jonathan Eason started beside him on that front row, just 4 hundredths of a second off. Mike Hayes can bring it up in third for Lone Star Racing. Jeremy Richmond picks it up in fourth with Donnie Honeycutt to round out the top half of the field for Hypershift Motorsports here, Daniel.
Right, and starting 6 is Dwayne Honeycutt. Starting 7th will be Justin LeBlanc. And next to him will be Tyler Honeycutt. And on your final row, we will have Stephen Hayes in 9th place and Chad Rowe topping out your top 10.
10 drivers separated by about 46 hundredths of a second, just under half a second here tonight. And all these drivers can be seeing what kind of a show they can put on for us here in the Off Throttle Sim Series, race number 11 for their Xfinity Series season, their inaugural season. at that. So far, a very unproven field here tonight that these drivers are going to be having to work their way around, and we'll see what these 10 drivers, will be able to do for us here tonight. Pace car going to get rolling here in just a moment, and we'll be able to get things underway as Dwayne Honeycutt looking set to try to get himself sorted up in this field. The pace car going to roll for a one and only pace lap. And I tell you what, when you have 4 Honeycutts making up the field, I think that's how you know you're in for a bit of a rough fight ahead of you.
Yeah, and I know the Honeycutts, you know. They are really good drivers, they have great talent, but they're really hard to pass. So good luck trying to get past the Honeycutts tonight in New Hampshire.
Field's going to roll around onto the back straightaway, and we'll get set to go green flag racing, this time by the field of 10 cars strong. Going to be settling in, no doubt, for the long haul. The weather tonight looking like clear skies and a cold track surface at that. 47, well, not entirely cold. 47 degrees. I'm used to seeing Fahrenheit there, not exactly Celsius. We'll see if we can't get the Fahrenheit readings on that in a little while. But for now, the pace car going to pull down and into pit road. And we're happy that you're joining us here on Green Flag TV for your choice of entertainment here tonight. Lights are out, green flag is out, we're up in the air and racing at the Magic Mile.
As you see the 15 going into turn 2, DJ Honeycutt will take the lead.
Race lead for DJ Honeycutt as we rocket it down into turn number 3. The 15 Sparko Supra gonna pull clear off the top shelf off of turn number 4, and he will lead your opening lap to green flag racing here tonight. Jonathan Eason picks up 2nd, Hayes 3rd, Richmond 4th, Donnie Honeycutt rounds out the top 5. There it's a Honeycutt festival back here with Donnie and Dwayne running 5th and 6th side by side. They're almost going to change hands as Stephen Hayes gets a bit argy-bargy with the likes of Donnie Honeycutt coming around through turn number 2. And there you see Jeremy Richmond making the move up the inside of Mike Hayes into turn number 3.
Yes, as you see, DJ Honeycutt still in the lead. 2nd is Jonathan Eason. And as you see right there in the 99, Mike Hayes. Now, he was battling there for 4th or 3rd position. As you see the 22 of Donnie Honeycutt on his inside going down the back straightaway. And he's going to try to go the inside, possibly into turn 3. There he goes, DJ Honeycutt. And they're going to be side-by-side coming out turn 4.
Mike Hayes getting a bit bobbly on the exit of 4. You saw him up on the top shelf having to pedal the number 99 Supra. And, a bit of contact there. That's going to put the 99 up into the wall. And that's going to shove Mike Hayes way down the field. He's going to fall to last. And a bit of a knock on the right front you can see there. Not the way that Hayes wanted to start his race out. You talked about being patient. That didn't seem terribly patient there for the 22. Who's now going around the outside of Richmond.
Just like I was saying in the pre-race and during qualifying, these drivers don't want to be aggressive during the first few laps here because now that 22 upset the 99.
Oh boy, and the 8.
Oh man.
You saw Stephen Hayes give the bumper to the 22 there, entering turn number 1. So shall we say some relationship retribution right there for the number 8 car. Wanted to avenge the 99 and might have a look up here to 3.
Yeah, and the one thing I want to point out is don't count out that 99 Michael Hayes. Now, what the 22 did, I think, was a little too aggressive early on this race, so I would watch out for that 99, and if he comes back up through this field, he might retaliate on the 22.
May very well do, and we'll get a look back here in just a second on what happened here to Mike Hayes. This would have been coming on down in towards turn number 1. And for the 22 of Donnie Honeycutt, well, we'll get back to that in a second here as he got the fight on for 2nd. Jeremy Richmond trying to look up the inside of Eason here, coming out of 4, down to the front straightaway. That doesn't look like he's going to go anywhere, though. I think Richmond might have to tuck it back in. Oh, he's going to go for the lunge, down to 1, but pushes up from the bottom as he gets right down on that yellow line. A little bit of progressive banking here at Hampshire Motor Speedway, and it makes it a bit difficult sometimes to make moves stick from the inside. As you can see that Ford with the run up on the top side.
Yeah, and if you're going to run the inside lane, make sure your car doesn't slide up. And if you hit a driver, they could go in the wall. As you see the 98, Jeremy Richard taking second place as DJ Honeycutt is still in the lead here on lap 8.
Still in the lead as we run it back down into turn number 1. We will get a look on board with what happened with Mike Hayes. This is Donnie Honeycutt as he tried to push up from the bottom, and right there was the contact and up into the wall, and even climbed the wall a little bit there for that 99 car. So not a pleasant feeling at all from Mike Hayes, and I have a feeling, again, like you mentioned, he might be looking to see if he can't fight that one back, if he can get back to him. But that damage going to be hurt to the 99 in a big way. Just behind them, see Tyler Honeycutt getting around Dwayne Honeycutt. So Tyler wanted to get by his uncle there as we rocketed back up and into the back straightaway.
Yeah, Alan, you see the 98 in turn 3 side by side with the 15 of DJ Honeycutt. 98 of Jeremy Richards trying to take the lead away, but the 15's going to have that run off turn 4 as they're going to be side by side coming down the front straightaway. As you see, 98 and 15. 98 gets a little sideways coming out of turn 2, but he keeps it straight. As the 15-98 still battle for the lead. There's the 98 inside. He is clear of the 15 of DJ Honeycutt. Jeremy Richards going to take the lead here, coming on lap 11 out of 200 here in New Hampshire.
Rocking it down the road into turn number 1, and the 15 of DJ Honeycutt going to try to make the move on Jeremy Richmond, and the 98 car going to maintain that race lead for now. So our first lead change here of the night, Jonathan Eason going to be picking up that 3rd spot in that 15 car. Looking like it might be dropping a bit on the pace. We talked about the tires, right, and how important it is to learn how to save tires at a track in New Hampshire that can just chew these tires up for breakfast. And Jeremy Richmond here, he is going to be rocketing up to the race lead, and this is going to be a bit of a rough ride here for that number 98 car here, as Jeremy Richmond going to work to the top side. DJ Honeycutt trying to get the run, but I think Richmond saved the tires earlier in the run, and he'll be able to pull himself up and maybe make a run here for 3rd and 4th.
Yeah, and you see the 15 trying to catch up to Jeremy. Now, the 15 had that lead for a while, so I'm wondering if he used up his tires enough to where it's going to be really slick now. It's going to be harder to pass the leader, and he could be falling back. As you see, somebody's in the wall, turn 2, but we keep it green here as the 98 still in the lead here in the turn 3. As you see, the 15 and DJ Honeycutt trying to get around the 98, but he just can't get there. But if he can stay in the draft here, I think he's got a shot.
And down to turn 1. Once more, Richmond continuing to hang on to this lead. Honeycutt holding strong for 2nd, and Jonathan Eason back in 3rd, and a bit of a scrape
As you see,
to
the 98
outside.
Still in the lead now. The 4 is closing in on DJ Honeycutt into turn 3. As you see, we are on board here with DJ Honeycutt, and DJ Honeycutt's going to come out of turn 4 with a nice little run, but he's not going to get to the bumper of Jeremy Richard just yet. But don't worry, he's under pressure from the 4 of Jonathan Eason. Don't count him out as he's catching up to the 15 of DJ Honeycutt.
Eason certainly looking to make strides in the number 4 cars. He's going to try to now take it up to the inside line into 3 potentially. The 15 going to be muscled up a little bit wide over in turn 3. Can the 4 Monster Energy Mustang get the drive off? And again, a close shave with the outside wall. Jonathan Eason tempting a lot of fate here, it would seem, in the early stages. You got to remember, 200 laps, right? We're not even a 10th of the way in, and already Jonathan Eason trying to get up to the back of DJ Honeycutt against the final lap, and this time he is going to connect with the wall.
Yeah, and that's what I was talking about earlier, Nolan. These drivers don't want to be aggressive, and as you see, they're already being aggressive, and we're not even a 10th way through this race, so I can only imagine what it's going to be like past halfway.
Assuming we get that far in, if these guys end up coming to a bit of a wreck here, you see the fight for third between Eason and Donnie Honeycutt now starting to develop as a bit of a damage on the back of the 22 car as well. You can thank the likes of Stephen Hayes in the number 8 car for that one. Still got this field nice and tight together, all things considered. So I think at this point we're going to settle on over into the long game of this, right? You've got these guys that are now in their rhythm. We're going to be seeing the passing start to die off a bit more, and we'll be focusing a little bit more on the strategy, I think, for a majority of this race here, especially as this top grouping will slowly but surely begin to separate.
Yeah, and that's what comes into play during these races for these long green runs here. As you see the battle for first, Jeremy Richards still in the lead as DJ Honeycutt still holds on to second. Don't count out the 4 car here of Jonathan East as he was catching the 15, but he lost a little bit of ground. But like I was saying, now the strategy comes into play, and that's going to be very important and a key role to winning this race tonight.
Even the 15 of Honeycutt trying to again close up to Richmond and nearly connected with the back bumper. We will ride on board with DJ Honeycutt here in just a moment, as this is going to get a bit hairy, I'd imagine, down into turn number 1 here. If DJ Honeycutt can get a good drive off, is I think going to be the big ticket question here, right? How is he going to navigate corner exit? The driver to Zebulon, North Carolina, see if he can't make a move on DJ Honeycutt here this time by, and I think might have even lost a fair bit of time on that last lap. Potentially pushed too hard at 1 and 2.
Yeah, and as we're riding along here, you can see as he went through 1 and 2, he pushed it a little too hard and he had to let off the gas so he wouldn't hit the wall. But what you want to do is you want to ease into the corner and get a good corner exit. That's what you want to do.
Kind of what Jerry Richardson's doing up there, right? I mean, Honeycutt is able to close up so much in the middle of these corners, but it's where he is suffering is up on the corner exit. He's not able to get a good drive off because you got Jeremy Richmond who's out here taking a wider arc, right? He's taking a bit of a double apex. He apexes first and 1, allows the car to track out wide, doesn't fight it, and then diamonds it off at turns 2 and 4. That's where Jeremy Richmond is getting all of his speed at the moment for that number 98 car. And so far it's been serving him well because he's at this point led more laps than DJ Honeycutt has.
Yeah, and I feel like DJ Honeycutt, you don't want to get aggravated with yourself. Just let the car do what the car wants to do. Do not don't try to overturn the car. As you see right there, he's trying to get around him, but he's putting too much gas into these corners, and he's just losing it off the exit. As you see right there, 22 hits the wall.
Another scrape to the outside wall for the 22 of Donnie Honeycutt. Fights on for the lead to the inside. Sends it up to number 15. And are they going to make contact? They're going to lean on each other as we drag race down the front straightaway. Richmond still holds the lead on the outside, but don't think he'll hang on to that one as DJ Honeycutt going to go for the bottom here in 1 and 2. And it's going to be dead even. Jonathan Eason, this is all what he wants to see as it's allowing him to start to close up. And right there, Honeycutt falters. Richmond able to hang on to the lead for now from the outside.
Yeah, and I think DJ Honeycutt's going to have a hard time. I think he could get side by side with him, but he can't make enough of a run to get around him because of the tire wear. As you see, Jonathan Eason might have gotten into the wall out of turn 4, but he likes seeing these two battling side by side, so maybe they could wreck and he could take the lead.
This time, Honeycutt pulling a bit further in front, but look at the run that Jeremy Richmond is able to get, and I think that's the big factor right there. It's how good of a drive Richmond's been getting off that outside lane that has allowed him to just close right on up to the nose here of DJ Honeycutt. This is a thrilling and an amazing defensive game here that one Jeremy Richmond has been playing here as again we ride on board with Honeycutt. And you're going to see here, tries to get to the back bump, but he goes so big on entry, he completely demolishes any momentum he might have on corner exit.
Yeah, and as you see DJ Honeycutt there, he's giving it all he can got right now, but he's not trying to push it to the point where he's going to spin out the leader.
It's all about finding where you're strongest and where you're weakest, and at the moment, DJ Honeycutt has got to see if he can't find out if there's any kind of strength he might have elsewhere where he can get up and around the 98 cars again, closing right up to the back bumper of the 98 Camaro, but never close enough to be able to properly steal away this race lead. So Honeycutt will have to remain in that second position for now, as he will rocket away down into turn numbers 3 and 4 and back down to the front straightaway. And again another scrape for Jonathan Eason up into the outside wall, and that will allow LeBlanc to go through for third. Meanwhile, Stephen Hayes hitting pit road. So Hayes, the first driver to make a pit stop here tonight, whereas your leaders will continue to stay out. And they'll take it up around the racetrack. Will we see a move this time by? Oh, we might, as again, DJ Honeycutt getting close. Tries with a lunge. Got to the back bumper that time through, but not enough to be able to move him out of the way.
And one thing I want to focus on here, I know we have a great battle for the first position here, but don't count out that third position car of Justin LeBlanc. He's been really strong here lately in the beginning of the race, and look, he's catching the leaders as they're battling for the lead, so don't be shocked if he can catch up to these leaders and possibly go for the lead here.
Stephen Hayes brings his car behind the wall. He is out of the race tonight. We go from 10 drivers down to 9, so not the run that I think Hayes was hoping to have. There's potentially problems with Tyler Honeycutt as he loses 3 spots in the span of just one straightaway. We'll keep eyes on this fight for the lead. We'll look back at what happened there in a second as, again, DJ forced to duck back in line as Jeremy Richmond going to cling on to that race lead for just at least one more lap. But I tell you what, it's one thrilling fight that these guys have been putting on for us here tonight, and it's not showing any signs of dying off anytime soon.
No, it's just going to keep getting more intense and intense until this race is over. You know, next weekend we have our championship race, and all these drivers want to do is get, as you see the replay there.
That hit the wall. That's what happened to the 3.
Yeah, you got a little bit of hood damage there. But like I was saying, it's going to get more intense because next weekend is the finale at Phoenix, so these drivers want to get as many points as possible to make it into the championship.
And DJ Honeycutt, remember, he's one of the big names that's fighting for said championship. Now, again, consulting a little bit here on what the standings are looking like entering this race. Remember, at the moment, Jeremy Richmond does not have a hand to say in this title. He came into this season late. He's going to let Honeycutt go here, and Honeycutt retakes the race lead finally in the run down into turn number 3. But Jeremy Richmond is not fighting out for a championship. All he's doing at the moment is an obstacle for Honeycutt here to try to overcome.
Yeah, and if I was Jeremy Richard, you know, you're out there, you're having fun racing, you know you're not running for a title, you got next season to have a shot at it, but he wants to get that W, you know, he likes winning, he's very hungry for a win, but if he wins, that's going to mess up DJ Honeycutt for that championship.
As the fight for the lead dissipates, we've still got this scrap going on a bit further down the field. This is for 7th spot between Chad Rowe, Mike Hayes, and Tyler Honeycutt. So these are for some of the last positions up here at the moment on the racetrack. And you can see the 99 car again working to the inside. And Mike Hayes dropping back one as Chad Rowe going to move up. Behind them, Tyler Honeycutt in that 3 car looking like he wants to try to regain some lost ground. Too deep for the 69 as he's going to swing up and wide.
Yeah, I think these drivers back here are just racing, hoping for a caution to come out so they can pit, get repairs done, and get some new tires.
Talk about tires. These drivers have 4 changes in the box, so 5 sets total for the night, 4 plus the ones that they started on. So if you wanted to use all 4 sets of tires, you're looking like you want to be pitting about every 40 laps or so, but with fuel, I think you could go a fair bit longer on the fuel stints here, right? So there's no way that these guys are going to be wanting to, these guys wanted to kind of make something happen back there, right? So it's going to be a big problem for these drivers as they'll try to kind of work their way a bit further through this field. And tire management going to be a factor, especially in the later stages, if we get an inopportune caution at a bad point, like in the middle of a fuel run, for example.
Yeah, and as you see coming out of turn 2, DJ Honeycutt takes back the lead here as Jeremy Richard falls back to second. Justin LeBlanc still in third, running down Jeremy in turn 3, trying to take second away. But what about DJ Honeycutt? You know, he took the lead early on in this race. He lost it for a while, but now he's back up to the lead. What are you expecting for the rest of this race from him?
It's looking like he's putting that hammer down. He's built up a 0.6 of a second gap. Or make that now 0.7 of a second as he again goes for a massive lunge up into turn 2. I think Richmond spent everything he had in that car just trying to keep that race lead, and DJ Honeycutt was biding his time. He allowed Richmond to take that early, and because he knew that Jim Richmond was about to lose out, and that's exactly what's ended up happening. So now Jeremy Richmond has got to be on defense here, while DJ Honeycutt builds up almost a 1/4 of a second, and just that lap alone, another slap to the outside wall for Jonathan Eason. And now you see LeBlanc trying to fight his way through. Now LeBlanc is in a big points battle here. He's fighting it out with DJ Honeycutt as it stands for second place in the point standings entering your race tonight. There's obviously potential for DJ Honeycutt to still lose out on that second position if LeBlanc can get up and buy him here tonight. And in fact, if DJ Honeycutt's able to take all the bonus points here, he's got the potential to walk away the points leader entering this race tonight. The fact that Schaefer is not present tonight has completely upended this entire series.
I mean, it's a shocker to me. You know, he was running for a championship, and this is not the outcome I was expecting from him.
Same here. I mean, you have a 48-point lead. Why would you risk not missing a race unless he's had some form of issue that has been he is unable to attend tonight? But he'll still be able to have a chance because he's going to be right with DJ Honeycutt. At worst case scenario for Shaver, whoa, is hello.
Whoa.
Big cross up there coming on over off turn number 2.
2.
Goodness, that got a bit hot and heavy there for a brief moment. Man, I mean, just got all crossed up. It looked like maybe Richmond got too close to the wall and LeBlanc scrambled to try to go evasive.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard racing. I mean, what do you expect? It's hard racing, you know? These drivers are excited. They're trying to fight for every point in every position here in New Hampshire.
.40 laps complete this time through at the line. Making good time, it's worth noting here, in your OTSS Xfinity Series race tonight. Kind of like the fact that we've been able to slow this race down here, right? I mean, a lot of leagues throughout the course of this week here, they've all been out there trying to, go for the big plate race, or pseudo plate race over at Atlanta Motor Speedway, right? And I've already commentated 2 of those races earlier this week, and I got another one coming on up for me this Saturday. So I like the fact that I'm able to kind of just slow it down here and go to a more of a strategy race, as now it's Tyler Honeycutt to come down to the lane, and this is going to be putting that number 3 car a lap down. He might be going for the strategy I was mentioning earlier, right? Pit every 40 laps or so, and then get a fresh set of tires and use every one of them.
Yeah, and the good part about this is if for some reason a caution comes out, he's probably not going to have to pit. The rest of the leaders are going to have to pit, so he'll be up in the front.
14.8 seconds in the box, 4 tires and fuel for Tyler Honeycutt. He'll exit pit road 1 lap down. I'll brace up to the lone on-track fight we have at the moment, the fight for second up on the racetrack with Jim Richmond and Justin LeBlanc. All of the drivers have fallen out to a second or more. So at the moment, this small little battle here is the one that we got, and the one we're going to keep on watching as LeBlanc tries to catch up to Richmond to see if he can't make a run for that second runner-up position. A position he desperately needs, by the way, if he wants to get himself into a good contention spot for at least a second place of the championship come next week at Phoenix.
Yeah, I mean, even if you don't win here tonight at New Hampshire, you want to get a good finish because every position counts. It's just next weekend. That's when everything's on the table.
Oh, a bad run out of turn 2 for Richmond. That gives LeBlanc the room he
Oh.
needs. Sends it up the inside into turn 3. The 98 trying to power through on the outside, but might be in a bit too deep, and he is. The 85 clears, and Justin LeBlanc moves up to second.
And watch this 98 now of Jeremy now. He might get another run at this 85. He's going to try the inside, but it's not going to work as the 85 still clear, heading down the back straightaway. But the 98, you can tell, is not happy, and he's getting a little bit more aggressive now.
Goes back to what I was mentioning earlier about how the fact that everybody, or these guys have all burned up some of their stuff here, and Jim Richmond, absolutely no exception to the rule. We'll ride on board with Justin LeBlanc here. Oh, actually, heads up, we'll cut from that. We'll look back at the fight
we got
for
pitters
in a moment. Yeah, pit stops for Eason and Donnie Honeycutt, so pit window very much open.
Yeah, as you see the 4 and the 22 coming down pit road, you know the 22 is probably going to get 4 good years, Sunoco fuel, and they're going to want to make as much repairs as possible. So is the 4. You know, he scraped the wall a few times. Maybe he needs some repairs there, but he's going to do the same exact things as 22, and they're going to head right back out.
Donnie Honeycutt's car has seen better days, it's worth noting. Got damage on the front, the side, the rear, and all of that from contact with the haze. And a drag race off pit road. Donnie Honeycutt able to get up in front of Jonathan Eason in the number 4 car. So that battle going to leave the racetrack and head up and on to the main circuit. Meanwhile, Chad Rowe pulling on down and into pit road. And the 69 car going to be seen if he can't get himself with a good solid run here as we get set to leave the pit stop window behind us.
Yeah, as you see right there on your camera, DJ Honeycutt still in the lead, hasn't pit yet, but I expect him to pit pretty soon. I mean, the rest of the drivers are pitting, so he's going to be if he doesn't pit soon, he might be one of the drivers without fresh good years.
Dwayne Honeycutt, the next driver to pull down and into the road for service as one by one, again, your field starting to file in. Chad Rowe going to leave pit road. He'll exit 9th, exactly where he went in. Jeremy Richmond now looking to pull down to the pit road. This could be a tactic here, right? See if he can't undercut Justin LeBlanc and get back by him, as they were pretty much nose to tail still when we got down to the pit window.
Yeah, they were nose to tail, and this might be a strategy roll too, you know.
One in, one out. Richmond goes up on the jacks. Now, when does DJ Honeycutt and Justin LeBlanc come down into pit row? Both of these drivers still staying up there on the racetrack, but you can tell struggling a bit on pace and on traction, as now we'll jump back and we'll get a view on LeBlanc's pass, and you're going to see exactly what I mean about trying to get a run, and how's that for the momentum coming on down into turn number 3. You saw the Junior Smokehouse Chevy pull up and wide and just not able to maintain the momentum. So I'll give Richmond, he definitely tried, but it wasn't enough, and now your race leader down to the lane.
As you see right there on your leaderboard on your top left, Justin LeBlanc takes the lead here. As you see the 22 going around him on the outside.
Unlapping himself, as is Eason.
Yeah. Well, the 85 got a little loose there. He's going to have to pit soon. I mean, it looks like he's got no traction left on those tires. I think it's time for him to hit pits.
Well, remember, you get a bonus point for leading a lap, and now he is going to be pitting, so I think that's what LeBlanc was waiting for. He was trying to wait out DJ Honeycutt so we could stay out, get a bonus point for leading a lap, and then pull down to the pit road. Every point matters, and that is exactly what's going to happen here for one LeBlanc. And it is a long stop for DJ Honeycutt. He has been in the box now for over 30 seconds, so he's got a penalty, and I'm willing to bet a speeding penalty for the number 15 car. This is disaster for your main championship contender, as he is still sitting in the box. He's going to lose a lap here.
Yeah, and that's not what DJ wanted hoped for during this race. He wanted everything to go smooth. As you see, the 85 exit pit road, but this could be costly in points for DJ.
Talk about hero to zero. Goes from leading the race by a couple seconds back to being a lap down, and that's going to put Mike Hayes now up into the race lead. But Mike Hayes has also not stopped it. He's the one driver we are waiting on to come down a pit road in the 99 Monster Energy machine. So for Mike Hayes, I'm expecting him to be in this time by, remember, he got kind of belted up into the outside wall by the 22 earlier this race, and he's continuing to stay out. So I think Mike Hayes, like the others, wanted to get the bonus point for leading a lap.
Yeah, and I think he wants to take this lead for as long as he can. But like you said, I do expect him to pit either this lap or the next lap after that.
Down to the turn number 3. Are we going to be seeing him pitting in this time through, or are we going to be waiting for just a touch longer? We're going to be waiting a touch longer. So we'll look back to Eason and Donnie Honeycutt. This is the fight for now the net race lead between the 4 and the 22, but Jeremy Richmond right tucked in behind them. And Richmond, I have a feeling here, started to kind of reel that gap in. You take a look at the overall gaps, and in fact it has been a significant reeling in for Jeremy Richmond the last little while. So it looks like Richmond could very well be a contender for that race lead once more. It was a 3/4 of a second, 4/10, then a 1/10 and a quarter. This time by another 3/10 gain. Jeremy Richmond on slightly fresher rubber, reeling in the gap to the net top 2.
Yeah, and with the 22 with a little bit of damage, I'm actually surprised by how much he's actually gaining on Jonathan Eason here.
Well, I think at the moment it's all aero damage, right? And I think that's the big thing. The aero damage doesn't matter so much of the Magic Mile. You don't get too much of a run. It's really the handling damage that you have to make sure you're worried about. If that car's plowing when you're just on the brakes, that's how you know you've bent something up. So suspension damage is all the 22's got to worry about. If he's got a little bit of a knock to the rear spoiler, no problems for the 22.
As you see Jeremy Richard there in 4th place in that 98 car. Still holding pretty strong here. He was leading laps earlier. I won't be shocked if he's up in the front later on. But right behind him, as you see, the 85, Justin LeBlanc, another strong driver. But, I mean, it's really hard to predict here. We're only 57 laps in.
Only 57 laps in, about a quarter of the way, and still Mike Hayes staying out. And at this point, I have a feeling he's not going for the tire strategy that everybody else is. He's going to run this tank dry and see if he can't make it to the end by saving a bit of fuel and see if he can cut a whole pit stop out of the loop, because that's the important thing to note. He's going to be slower for a majority of the runs, right? I mean, that gap has shrunk in from about 22 seconds down to 16. But if you can eliminate a pit stop from the order, that's 40 seconds you're saving total, which is miles better than anything he would be able to do by coming down to pit road just a little bit later than everybody else.
Yeah, and I think he's playing with dice here. I mean, it's a great strategy. It shocked me. I thought he would pit by now, but he's still on track. But, I mean, if he can hold it off here, I think he's a good driver with a lot of talent and good strategy.
15 seconds the distance between Mike Hayes and the cars behind. You take a look at the lap time comparison, and it paints a story, right? That's about the fall that you can expect to see. Meanwhile, got the fight on here for net P2 as Jimmy Richmond up the inside of Donnie Honeycutt. Going to take away on track 3rd, and LeBlanc going to look set to try to power through and take away 4th.
Yeah, as you see, 85 is going to take that position from the 22 now of Donnie Honeycutt. But look at 85. He's going to try to get on the inside of that 98 there of Jeremy. But, so close. But he's going to fall right behind him as he's going to have another shot here within the next lap or two. As you see, the 85 is going to try to outside lane. He's going to try to get a nice, good run. As you see him on the side of the 98, he's going to get the run off of turn 4. They're going to be side by side coming down the front straightaway. As we look behind them now, there's another battle. It's the 22 and the 15 of DJ Honeycutt, you know.
Honeycutt
he had that penalty.
Himself,
yeah, he's the lap down. And he's trying to get his lap back, but that penalty cost him good amount.
And it is only going to continue to cost him as time slowly rolls along throughout this race, and taking it up to lap number 62, this time through, and it's not going to be long before Mike Hayes is put under fire as Jonathan Easton coming around here through turn number 2. Mike Hayes, meanwhile, running around through turn number 3. So the gap is continuing to close in that fight for the lead. Now the question is Hayes still going to be in the lead by the time these guys come down to pit again? They're about halfway now through this current stint compared to where they pit the last time.
I mean, I really don't know. I mean, you see Mike Hayes in the 99 still leading. But, I mean, look at Jonathan Easton. He's at 11-second gap now. Before, when we looked at Mike, he was 16 seconds ahead. Now he's down to 11 seconds ahead. They're catching him, so it's going to be really hard for him to hold him off here. As you see, the 85 there in third place, trying to take Jonathan Easton. 85 gets up to his bumper, but he's not going to get there as the 4 still in second place. But if Mike Hayes pits, Justin knows that Jonathan will be the leader.
Justin LeBlanc trying to again make the move on Jonathan Easton here as we come around through turn number 2 down to the back straightaway, and so far the number 4 car did a good job on keeping that thing steady, but LeBlanc has been closing in more and more the last few laps. The last lap by, good 10th quicker, and it's looking like that it's going to again increase here as we rocket off of turn number 4 back down the front straightaway. The 4 still holding strong for second place, but here's the lunge to the inside, and it's no contest. LeBlanc is through.
Yeah, and I think he was waiting for that opening there. As the 85 of LeBlanc gets around the 4, Jonathan Easton. But now look behind him. It is DJ Honeycutt trying to get Ty, the 4, in turn 3. Still trying to get his lap back, but he knows that the 85 is going to be the leader car if the 99 decides to pit. So he could try to get his lap back.
You saw there Jonathan Easton even backed off a little bit, gave DJ Honeycutt a bit of breathing room, realizes, hey, I'm not fighting this guy. He's faster than me anyway. Just let him go. There's no point in risking tearing up your car over something so small, right? Especially if that driver's a lap down. At the moment, DJ Honeycutt's not even in the lucky dog spot. He has to catch all the way up to Dwayne Honeycutt, who's up on the front straightaway here in the number 27 car. So at the moment, this race has gone about as wrong for DJ Honeycutt as it possibly could as it stands. He needs a caution or two, or he's not getting that lap back.
Yeah, and as we've been watching these racers drive around here in New Hampshire, it's been a caution-free race so far. So I think they're trying to play it safe here, trying to stay cool and collective and calm. And I think it's going to be really hard for DJ to come back from this one. I think it's pretty much finished.
As we continue to gradually work our way around the New Hampshire Motor Speedway, still not at that halfway point. Got the fight for third starting to develop between Easton now and Richmond. And that 98 going to look to see if he can't put the hammer down and get up and around the 4. Now Richmond, of course, one of the drivers that pitted a little bit later than everybody else, so he's got that going for him at least. Pitted on lap 48, Easton on 45, but LeBlanc still running away. Oh, I thought he was at least, as LeBlanc having to deal with some lap traffic of his own, working around Chad Rowe. And now you got a good half the field clustered up in one big punch here, and right there, DJ Honeycutt gets around Chad Rowe, so that's one lap car now out of Honeycutt's way.
Yeah, and I want to focus in on this 99 of Mike Hayes now. It's 6 seconds, and you see it closing rapidly. What do you think is going to happen when they catch the 99 here?
I'm still not 100% confident. If they're pitting around lap 80, I don't even know if they're going to catch him before this run is through. You can see there, Dwayne Honeycutt going to lap himself. That puts now DJ Honeycutt into the lucky dog spot. But I think it's going to be a rough ride still for these guys to get around, because I can guarantee you, Hayes isn't going to let these guys go easy. He is going to fight that one out to the absolute bitter end. Meanwhile, still have this fight for third between Richmond and Eason for the last podium position here, and you take it over to lap 71. A bit of a scrape to the outside, what it looked like for Eason there. So really working to see if he can't use every scrap of track that there possibly is to use.
Yeah, as you see the gap now between Justin and Mike, it closed down to 3 seconds. It's going to be going 2 seconds soon, so we're getting there, but the 85 still holding off the 4 of Jonathan Eason.
Here you saw the difference, Mike Hayes. There he is in turn number 1. Meanwhile, exiting 2. There is Justin LeBlanc, so they are going to catch him up here, and it's going to be it could be a quick fight at that, and it's not going to be the only one, as the 98 now looks for the inside of the 4 in the run down to turn 3, sends it for the inside of the magic mile, and this time, can he get it? Oh, he's going to run down to the apron. That's too far low, and that's going to allow Eason to maintain the run for just a touch longer. But now, you mentioned before, that gap went from 3 seconds, it's down to 1.7.
Yeah, they're going to gain on him within like 1 lap or 2 laps now. I mean, the 99, he's still never pitted, but I mean, what about the strategy here? I mean, I wasn't expecting it. What about you?
I can't say I was entirely expecting it either, and it's at this point here that Mike Hayes is starting to realize, because remember, he hasn't pit yet. Mike Hayes has not made a pit stop yet, so he still has to come down to pit road. It's not like he's just on a bad tire call. He hasn't made a pit stop. So at this point in time, he pits, he's effectively going to be losing a lap. Now the question is, if this is a strategy that could potentially be viable for him, can he make that time back up in the later running? Because at this point, once he pits, yeah, he's going to be down a lap, but he's going to be miles faster than these guys behind him.
Yeah, and I think in his mind, I think he was hoping for a caution to come out, but it's just not going to happen. As you see the 85, he's caught up to the leader, Mike Hayes. He's going to go to the inside of Mike Hayes. There it is. 85 is going to take the lead, as the 99 knew that the 85 was coming, so the 99 just let him by. As you see the 15 DJ Honeycutt working his way past the 99. Here comes the 4 now. Now the 4 is going to be in second place within a lap or 2, and they're going to try to run down Justin LeBlanc here as soon as they get around that 99 of Mike Hayes.
So right there, Jimmy Richmond took so much apron now that at first the overlay thought he was about to hit pit road, so it pulled it up prematurely. That tells you just how dedicated Richmond is to that inside lane. He is not wanting to give any kind of inch off that bottom, and I think it helps you in the short run, but it's only going to damage you in the long run, right? Because it burns off all your stuff, and this is exactly the problem that Jimmy Richmond had when we started this race off. The fact that he was really quick in the early run, but he burned all of his stuff up early on, and the guys ahead of him began to pull away. And I think at this point, he's a bit frustrated with some of the mistakes he might have made elsewhere, so he's just trying to see if he can't reset and try to make up for that lost time. But at the end of the day, he can still very well only hurt himself as he's going to run way too wide into turn 2 there. Meanwhile, they're all over Mike Hayes for second.
Yeah, so they're going to go past Mike Hayes now in the 99, but mentioning the 98 there of Jeremy Richard, he is pushing it too hard for these turns, and that's going to kill his tires now. As you see the 98 on the apron again, I thought he was going to come down pit road, but he's going to be on the inside of the 4 as we possibly...
Oh,
he clipped the 4 in turn 1.
Oh,
clips
still
the
save
4.
it. They save
it, but I don't think that was all planned. I mean, I thought they were going to go 3 wide down there, but as you see, the 99 is side by side with the 98 of Jeremy Richard. But I'm trying to figure out what's going through the 4 of Jonathan Easton's head right now. Is he going to retaliate on that 98?
I don't know if he will. It looked like it was just a bit of a bad nudge from the both of them, and it looked like maybe the 4 cut down across the 98. We'll get a look at that here in just a second once this fight settles itself out. And now that that's going to take place, we'll look back and see what happened here. This is on the replay, coming on down the front straightaway. You're going to watch here as Richmond, right there, yeah, he did cut left. Cut left right across the nose of the 98. Now the question is, did the 98 car have the line? I'm not sure he did. I don't think he quite did, but I'll give him credit. They held on to it nicely. This is on board. Yeah,
It's
that's
really
that's
hard
a
to
hard one
tell.
call. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a tough call.
I mean, from the other camera angle, it looked like the 4 came down, but I don't know. I mean, it could be either way. I mean, the 98 could have got a little loose and slid up the track, or it looked like on the other camera the 4 came down. I mean, it could be either way, but it's really hard to judge.
So on board with Mike Hayes, who was right behind this whole mess, or right beside, I think is more accurate, and this allowed him to hang on for just a little while. And I think quite fittingly, he's in pit road. I think he saw enough of that. He was like, all right, I think this is a good time to make my exit. It's about to get a bit heated up here on the racetrack.
Yeah. As you see, the 85, he's still in the lead. But don't count out the 22, Donnie Honeycutt. I know we haven't been talking to him on this broadcast a lot lately. But, I mean, he's in the mix here. He's in the top 5. As you see, DJ Honeycutt is now in the top 5. But he's still a lap down. So if we get a caution, he could potentially be on the lead lap.
See Tyler Honeycutt, the driver out of Raleigh, North Carolina, down and into pit road for service. So the GameStop Chevy going to be making a quick one here, potentially 4 tires and fuel. We're around that lap 82 mark, so this is right around the point where we've seen just about everybody else making a trip down the pit lane. I think that is what's really critical for Mike Hayes here, right? You think about the fact that we're talking about potentially pitting every 40 laps or so. Most of the guys in this field, they pitted from laps 45 to 50. Hayes made it all the way to 79, and Tyler Honeycutt just pitted immediately after on 80 for his second stop. That speaks volumes to me, because it tells me that Hayes may very well have already cut out a pit stop out of this equation.
Yeah, and the one thing I want to talk about is maybe Hayes was thinking, well, we're going to run as many laps as possible and as many laps as possible on fuel. So the drivers are already thinking about doing their second stop. He just made his first stop, so he's going to have an extra set of tires instead of the other guys, I mean, towards the end of this race.
Well, we're continuing to gradually work our way here from the Magic Mile, New Hampshire Motor Speedway. You're watching the OTSS Xfinity Series live on Green Flag TV. We're going to take a quick step back, and we'll be back with more coverage here from tonight's presentation in just a few moments. to Loudon, New Hampshire, where we are still under our longest green flag run and the only green flag run we've had so far tonight, as we have had no cautions here in the OTSS Xfinity Series from New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Once again, my name is Old Rempel, and tonight I've got the one and only Daniel Paulins Jr., beside me in the broadcast booth. Fight for third here starting to develop. We also saw the pass here a few moments ago on the commercial break. This is for 7th spot, and that was the 99 getting up and by Chad Hayes, as Mike Hayes, again on the bit of an awkward pit strategy, working his way up to 7th, as Donnie Honeycutt looks set to try to make a move for third.
Yeah, as you see, Justin LeBlanc still in the lead. Jeremy Richards still in second. As you see, the 22 of Donnie Honeycutt passing the 4 of Jonathan Eason. Now, do you think Jonathan's getting a little stressed out?
I think it's might be a bit of the tire stuff, right? I mean, remember Eason was pushing really hard at the early going there to try to see if he couldn't make up some time. So I think it was a case of just running too wide at the exit of 4. Had to lift off in order to avoid getting up and into the outside wall. This has turned into a big strategy race as it stands. You've got 4 cars currently on the lead lap, and everybody else sitting laps down. But of course, DJ Honeycutt caught out by a bad penalty that's put him kind of in a bad way. Meanwhile, Dwayne Honeycutt has just been more on pace for the number 7 car, and he's actually going to lose out to Mike Hayes as Hayes shoots to the inside and picks up 6th. So Dwayne Honeycutt even going to lose a spot out there. Justin LeBlanc, meanwhile, has been running away with this one. Now, this is huge for LeBlanc, remember, because he can use this to close in the gap between himself and DJ Honeycutt, and both these guys are going to be making monumental strides on Schaefer exiting tonight's race. This could very well become a 3-way fight for the championship in Avondale next week.
It very well could be. As you see, the 15 there of DJ Honeycutt. Now, if he can get past the leader, he will get his lap back. But do you think it's possible that DJ could get his lap back?
I think it's been 50-50 right now. He's been running about the same pace as LeBlanc for the last little while, so he hasn't been gaining any. He hasn't been losing any. But I think, he hasn't been able to gain much here either. Is I think kind of the big problem. And remember, even if he does overtake him, he still has to work his way around the racetrack all over again just to make it for the lead. And he's actually coming down to pit road, I think, again, to try to undercut the leader so he can go and get that lap back.
It could very well could be. But, I mean, I think Justin LeBlanc has a pretty strong car tonight. And I think he could be the one in victory lane. I mean, what do you think?
If this strategy for LeBlanc plays out enough, I would find it hard-pressed to disagree with you on that one. But it's a bit of a gamble now as to when is he going to pit. Because for LeBlanc, he last pitted on lap 51. That tells you he's going to be pitting right around halfway here. But remember how much Mike Hayes was able to reel in? Well, Mike Hayes, he just lapped a 31.24. That was slower than LeBlanc's time. So it tells you that Mike Hayes' big pace he had on this strategy might not have paid off.
And if that didn't pay off, I think he's going to struggle here.
Whoa, just like Honeycutt struggling as DJ Honeycutt going around and into the wall.
15's in the wall.
There it is. Caution is out. First yellow flag of the night, and right out of pit road. And we have our first yellow flag of the evening right at halfway.
This is not what DJ Honeycutt wanted. I mean, I think it just went from worse to even more worse.
No kidding. He was in the lucky dog spot, too, and he decided to pit to try to undercut the leader. And he ended up being the cause of the caution that he was wanting.
I don't even know what happened there. I think we're going to have to get a replay on that.
I think it just got loose and over credit. You can see the bit of the smoke flying. We'll wait out the yellow flag pit stops because you know for a fact that's coming up soon. But this is goal for Michael Hayes because Mike Hayes is going to go to the lead lap now. That strategy, this might have either saved his strategy or ruined it.
I think it saved it there, no. As you see the 85 coming down pit road, he's going to bring along the 22, the 98, and the 4 car.
This is everybody on the lead lap down and in for service. We're going to be seeing everybody else coming on in a short little ways after. And for Eason, he's going to be down and into the lane here. And we'll get a look at the replay here with everything that just went down under this latest yellow flag. As DJ Honeycutt found himself in bad straights as he enters turn number 3. And yeah, the back
his rear end, yep.
And overcorrects head on into the wall.
Yeah, it looks like the back just gave out, you know. You got loose in the turn there, but I mean, that was really unexpected. Now, do you think it could have been something that they changed during the pit stop there?
I don't know. I think it was just cold tires that just got him. It's easy to happen, and I think that's what ended up costing him there. Mike Hayes, he will pit. So Hayes' strategy out the window. He's on side with everybody else now. While DJ Honeycutt stays out to get a lap back.
Now, what are you expecting on this restart here? You think they're going to be a little bit more aggressive than the start of this race? Or do you think they're going to play it cool, calm, and collected?
Well, we're right at halfway, so I would expect for the aggression to be up there a little bit, but nothing that these guys, no doubt, will be able to handle. Well, once again, take a quick jump back, and we'll be back with you with more here from New Hampshire Motor Speedway here. We'll be back in time for the restart. Coming around through 3 and 4 with all 9 cars still in tow. 5 remain on the lead lap. Pace car pulls into pit road. Green flag back up in the air right at halfway from the Hampshire Motor Speedway.
As you see right there, the 85 of Justin LeBlanc gets a nice run in turn 1. As you see, taking second place is the 98 Jeremy Richard, my bad. In third place, we have the 4 of Jonathan Easton as they're side-by-side with the 22 of Donnie Honeycutt.
For the third spots on back, Jonathan Easton dropping back as the 3 of Tyler Honeycutt. A lap down, trying to get the lap back and a fight around the outside. LeBlanc leads the first lap to green with 99 laps left to go after our first caution of the night.
And that doesn't surprise me there, Nolan. He's been really strong all race today, and we're already 102 laps in. We're getting there, and I expect these drivers to be a lot more aggressive.
That is, if they can stay close to each other, is I think going to be an important factor to note, as LeBlanc looking like he wants to try to pull that gap out early, but Jeremy Richmond with the run off the final corner. He'll try to close on up in the dive down for turn 1. So Richmond going to hold tough in the 98. You got LeBlanc in the 85, and they're going to run nose to tail. Coming off of turn number 2, down that back straightaway, a long back straightaway at that. Plenty of time to make something happen as they'll jump across the little bit of a bridge access roads to the infield and outfield road course. And it is still the 85 to lead the way.
As you see, we are all single file here at New Hampshire. Now, what I expect from these drivers is to be a little more aggressive, but I don't think they want to be too aggressive because, like we said before, it will affect their tires, and tire wear is key here.
We've already seen tire wear bite a few drivers, and even cold rubber bite out the likes of DJ Honeycutt, who brought out our first yellow flag of the evening when he lost control in 3 and 4 and body slammed the outside wall. As this field diving down to the 1 and 2, and I think these guys got themselves sorted out far quicker than they did earlier. And I think part of that has to do with the fact that half the guys on the track at the moment are a lap down, right? Tyler, Dwayne, Chad, DJ. That's 3 of the 4 Honeycutts right there, and then Rowe that are all a lap down. And of course, DJ Honeycutt would have been 2 down had he not stayed out to get his lap back. And of course, he had the ability to stay out because he had only pitted about 2 laps prior.
That is very true. But as you see, the 85 adjustment still in the lead. As you see, the 98 in second place. Now, do you think the 98's gonna also be a threat to this win against Justin LeBlanc?
I would say it'd be hard to consider him not a threat, considering how close he's been able to stick with LeBlanc on not just the initial start, but also this restart here as well. He hasn't been gaining any time, right? He's been hovering at around 4 to 5 tenths of a second, but he hasn't been losing any either, and he is right there in case Justin LeBlanc makes any kind of mistake, and no doubt he's going to be looking to capitalize, and he's already trying to make strides, see if he can't pull up and get the lead away from the number 85 Fox Ford Mustang. And we'll compare the lap times again when they come back around and start finish straight, but you can see how different the lines are that they've been taking. That has been having a big hand to play into how these fights have been gradually developing more and more throughout the course of this race since this restart. And you see Richmond has lost a fair bit on the initial start, but it wasn't long before he began to figure out what the pattern was, and now he's been holding even.
And no doubt, if the 85 makes one little mistake, Jeremy Richard will be there to take the lead away. As you see the front 2 pulling away from 3rd place of Donnie Honeycutt. And as you see, there's a battle there for 3rd against 22 and the 3 of Tyler Honeycutt. But they still stay single file. And here comes the 3 once again, but he's going to have a nice run as he gets a little loose out of turn 2, but he keeps it straight.
Remember Tyler Honeycutt trying to get his lap back. He is a lap down, running in that 6th spot as it stands. The fight for 3rd sits between Jonathan Eason and Donnie Honeycutt, the 22 and the 4, with the 3 kind of splitting them up as it stands. And then you got Chad Rowe and Dwayne Honeycutt also in their fight for a 7th spot up on the racetrack. And they're sitting at about the same gaps that the top 2 have been sitting in, so that's where we'll keep things sorted for now. And I think that it was really quick, but I think the field's gotten itself sorted, and this is where it's going to be at now for the duration of this race.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Still have one pit stop, though, these drivers are going to have to navigate. When we get down later into this race, we're expecting that to come at about lap 150, right about halfway in the race remaining. It's kind of nice how the racing, or how that caution almost perfectly split this race in half. It went green right at halfway, right? So, I mean, it has been almost poetic on how this race has been effectively cut in half as a result of that one. Almost like an intermission caution.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, we've been watching these pit stops happen, and as you see, the 98 he overshoots the turn there in turn 1. But he's gonna have this nice run out of turn 2, but not gonna quite get there.
And not able to make the move just yet, but again, possibility is always still there if LeBlanc messes up even so much as once on these restarts. I think for LeBlanc, it's been a testament as to how skilled of a driver he is. He started all the way back in 7th, way down the field, but he is the definition that qualifying pace is not everything, because he has been logging the laps away, lap after lap. He's up 6 spots where he started tonight. And at this rate, he could very well be on track to lead the most laps by the end of tonight.
Yeah, and I think this is going to look pretty good for championship points.
For LeBlanc, absolutely. For DJ Honeycutt, this could be a catastrophe. They entered this race 13 points separated between LeBlanc and Honeycutt. You win the race, that's 6 points up right there. Considering how far back DJ Honeycutt is, we could even see these positions switch by the end of the night.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And this is not what DJ Honeycutt wanted to see with the second to last race of the Xfinity Series season. But, you know, it's racing, it happens. But I really thought DJ was going to take the lead in the points. But it's not going to happen tonight.
The gap extends out to almost a full second. We'll look back to the fight for 7th between Dwayne Honeycutt and Chad Rowe. 27 and the 69 still nose to tail, the closest pairing up on the racetrack. But even then, they still have a fair bit between them, several car lengths at that. So I think a majority of like that really hard, aggressive race that we saw early has died off, and this is what we can kind of prepare ourselves to see throughout the remainder of the race tonight. These guys have come to terms with the fact that it's a long race. You got the lap traffic that's trying not to impede all the guys up on the lead lap trying to fight it out for positions. So I think all of that, with all of that said and done, it's going to be a fairly quiet race throughout the duration of the night. I think the only point we're going to be seeing another caution would be in the last 10 laps when somebody pushed it too hard, or around the pit stop window.
Oh, I totally agree. I mean, there's not a lot of cautions usually here in New Hampshire. It's not like a Martinsville where they're on top of each other. So there's also one driver I want to point out here, and that is the 99 of Mike Hayes. Now, he had a good strategy going, but he pitted with the other drivers during that caution, so it took that strategy away. But he's back on the lead lap, and he's in the top 5. And I want to say he's doing a really good job here running at New Hampshire.
Well, I think for Hayes, he didn't have much of a choice, right? Because his gamble was the fact that by pitting early, he could try to undercut everybody else, get back onto the lead lap. But the fact that he had to take a lucky dog free pass, that's what did him in, because that's what put him a bit further down the order. And now he's having to fight it out with the 4 of Jonathan Eason here, who's right up the road. And you can see Dwayne Honeycutt also kind of in the way here, where the 99 is trying to get around. And this is allowed for Dwayne to even pull away from Chad Rowe right behind, as the 99 will finally get through. But Mike Hayes and Jonathan Eason, you know, those are two drivers that started this race further up the field. Eason has fallen back more on just overall pace, whereas Hayes tried, as mentioned, a pit strategy that got obliterated when that caution came out. That's always the risk of being the one guy to try something different, because while yes, it might be a game changer if it goes green, one caution comes out and you're not as like with everybody else, and that's it. You're done for.
Oh yeah, you're totally done for at that point.
The Pan Monster Energy cars are going to continue to race it out, and we might see them getting into a bit of a side-by-side battle here in a minute, as Mike Hayes has been reeling in that gap ever so slowly up to Jonathan Eason here. And the 99 going to try for the outside. Might try to go for an over-under. You think he can get the run down to 1 here? Oh, he's got him easily. As in fact, Mike Hayes is going to pull aside and just make it easy. He said, take it.
Oh, 4 hits the wall. He brushes the wall there, coming down the front straightaway. That's going to hurt him a little bit. But look at the gain the 4 is going to get off of turn 2 now. He gets a little loose, but he's going to want to stay right behind the 99. As you see the 27 of Dwayne Honeycutt a lap down, he's going to try to get past that 4 car.
And Dwayne Honeycutt, you might get by 1, but it's LeBlanc you want to get by if you want to get your lap back. And at the moment, LeBlanc has been pulling away from the field, but it's just me or Jeremy Richmond he's been sort of reeling him in. You can see the 3 laps prior to this one, he reeled in about a quarter of a second there. We'll see what the gap is this time by the line. Lost a good chunk of it on the last lap through. and it's another 10th-and-a-half loss. So prediction's correct. LeBlanc has been pulling away from the field, and he's going to break out over a second now, and that's going to eliminate the last of the battles within a second that we had on the racetrack.
Yeah, I think if LeBlanc keeps doing what he's doing, has a great last pit stop, he's got a chance.
We look up to Avondale and Phoenix, Arizona. Like New Hampshire, it is a track where passing can be very difficult, and you often have to use the chrome horn. It's a matter of passing. You can do it. It's not going to really ever be pretty, though. And it's another 200 lapper there. Track is also sitting just under a mile. So do you reckon we could be seeing a very similar race at Phoenix? The banking is so different, but that dog leg, right? I think that could be one of the big factors that we could be seeing when we swing out to the Arizona desert here in a week.
Yeah, and at Phoenix, when we go for that championship race, the drivers are going to use that dog leg because it really helps them get to the front. Like, you can go as far down as you want, but you just can't go outbounds as you go all the way down. But like I'm saying, the drivers on these restarts at Phoenix are going to be insane. And they're going to use every inch of ground as possible.
The dog leg has always been one of those matters where the yellow line there, it's not so much of a rule, it's a suggestion line. And it is a suggestion that every driver has a tendency to say, well, that sign can't stop me because I can't read, and they just blow right through the dog leg. And I remember when a certain open wheel series used to run there back in 2016 to 17. Obviously, we can't mention the name as a result of the new open wheel changes that have come about on iRacing as of late, but they actually had to put in the rule to stop drivers from going down and cutting that dog leg just because it was too dangerous with the speed that this open wheel series used to run there. They don't run there anymore, I believe, but potential is always still there. I think the race there was fairly entertaining for the time. For the Cup cars, though, no such worry. They can just not even the Cup cars, the Xfinity cars, they can just breeze straight on through without a care in the world. Although, that being said, it has been a bit more difficult for some drivers to get around that, and particularly in the Gen 7 cars, right? That's where the big story has been. There's been a lot of talk about if you take it up on the racetrack, the car, especially on the rear with the diffuser, has the potential to bottom out, lifting the back tires off the ground, which could send you spinning around on the racetrack. But if you take the dogleg too shallow, you're going to spin around there as well because of the transitioning. So you either have to almost fully commit down by the wall, or you have to risk spinning out on the racetrack. I don't think these Xfinity Series cars have that problem, but it's always something to keep an eye on in the back of your head.
Yeah, and another thing I want to point out about Phoenix Raceway is that it hosts championship races, and we know the drivers are there aggressive, but, when these restarts happen, they're going to use that dog leg a lot.
Oh, they absolutely will, and I would expect absolutely nothing less. They're racing drivers. It's their job to use the entire racetrack and then some. Even the wall, if you have to. If you're a certain melon man over at a certain paperclip over in Martinsville, Virginia. A rule which was also very quickly put in place. That was one of those situations where you're like, wow, that was the most insane thing I've ever seen. There's no way they don't make a rule about that for next year, or everybody's going to be doing it. And you want to know what's insane about that move? Somebody decided to test that out on iRacing, and it worked with the same effect.
Yep.
At Phoenix, they had to put in the rule. There was no way they couldn't. And I love the fact for that. There's a very common adage in the motorsport world. If you're the one that's making them change the rule book, you're doing something right. Because that means that you're doing something so well, they have to stop you from doing it. You link back to the T-Rex car that Jeff Gordon ran back in the days. That was like that.
And it was a classic move, too. It was well-deserved, and he's a very talented driver, and I thought it was a great move, but I could see NASCAR putting that rule in because it could be dangerous to the fans and the drivers around him.
more so the cars, but yeah, I mean,
and the four cars.
I was gonna say, could you think of the damage repairs on that if the whole field decided to do that? The bill that there would be.
We'd be wall riding Martinsville like crazy, boys.
Or at least on the last lap, we would.
Yeah, everybody goes wall running on the last lap. Imagine.
Oh boy, that would be something. I'm pretty sure in NR 2003, you up the track I&I files enough, you can make him do it. It's not going to look anything like the real thing, but you could make him do it. So the possibility is always there. You can't do that on iRacing. Maybe someday in the future with the AI, but who knows. 133 laps.
You never know.
We're well into the second half of this race now. We'll kind of jump throughout the field here. We'll kind of update where everybody's sat at the moment. Justin LeBlanc, of course, leading the way as he has been ever since the drop of the restart. He is up 6 spots today. Jimmy Richmond, +2 to second. He started on the second row. Johnny Honeycutt, also up to a podium. Mike Hayes, of course, we've talked about him plenty since the drop of this green flag on the restart. Had that great pit strategy, but he has since fallen back to 4th, and he is looking like he's not going to be recovering anytime soon. Jonathan Eason, the last driver in the lead lap, 13 seconds behind the race leader and sitting down in 5th. Been a quiet night for him. Tyler Honeycutt, first driver lap down in the lucky dog spot, currently running in 6th with Dwayne Honeycutt in 7th. Chad Rowe in a fight with Dwayne Honeycutt as it stands for the fight for 7th. And then DJ Honeycutt down in pit row with Stephen Hayes having, shall we say, parked the car early in the race tonight, 107 laps ago.
Yeah, I mean, it was a shame. We really didn't get to see what Stephen Hayes had in his car. He's a very talented driver, but I can't wait to see what he can do next race.
Fights on between Rowe and Honeycutt as the 69 car going to try to push up and across the nose of the 27. DJ Honeycutt leaves pit road, 2 laps down. He was off cycle slightly because he had to get himself sorted to the end. But the important thing to know about DJ Honeycutt, he can go flat out now to the end of the race from here to the end. Because remember, Mike Hayes, he went over 80 laps on his first run before he had to pit. We got less than 80 to go.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, what about Justin LeBlanc? I mean, he's been really strong all night long. He's been leading laps, so I really wasn't expecting him to lead this many laps tonight.
I can't say I was expecting him to lead so many myself. I mean, he has been, as we mentioned before, just absolutely on it. I mean, LeBlanc, I think, was one of the drivers we weren't expecting to see too much better this race when he qualified 7th, as Jonathan East not going to hit pit row. But I think you're right. I mean, LeBlanc has been a powerhouse so far this race, and showing that he is still very much a threat for this championship entering the last race over in Phoenix.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's strong there at Phoenix, too. Imagine if he won the championship. That would be a historic ending to the Xfinity Series season.
So Eason in for his final pit stop, potentially, of the day. Easy and easy out, 14.5, full tank of fuel, fresh set of Goodyears, and he'll be exiting pit road down in 8th. Last car able to fight for any sort of positions up on the racetrack for now, as LeBlanc continues to lead the way in the OTSS Xfinity Series.
And right behind him, in second place is Jeremy Richard, and in third place is Donnie Honeycutt. Now, when do you expect all 4 of these drivers to pit? Because we saw the drivers behind them already pit. So, do you expect them to pit sooner, or you think they're going to do what the 99 and Mike Hayes did before earlier in this race?
I think at this point, once you pit, that's just it. You're done. There is no more pit strategy, right? It's just, when do you want to make that stop? Do you want to go for the undercut, or do you want to go for the overcut? You go for the overcut, you're going to lose a lot of ground at the short term, but you can find yourself pulling away in the long term. You go for the undercut, you'll get a lot of time early, but you're going to have to really fight on defense throughout the course of this race. This is a pass, or an attempted pass, for Dwayne Honeycutt on Jonathan Eason. Oh, sorry, that was actually coming out of pit road, that was. So I was wondering why I saw that flip around on the racetrack right back. So that was Jonathan Eason getting around Dwayne Honeycutt. And now, got by Chad Rowe as well. So Jonathan Eason on the move. Take a look at the fight for third as it stands, and you can see Donnie Honeycutt, Jeremy Richmond running second and third. Mike Hayes sitting a little ways back in fourth, trying to make up some slight ground. So again, you've got this three-way scrap here for second, third, and fourth on the racetrack, but nothing terribly to write home about as it stands, as these guys have been more kind of in a fluctuating ebb and flow for a good little while. It looks like Richmond potentially about to pull even a bit further away up in front as he diamonds off the corner.
Yeah, for sure. And the one driver I want to point out again is the 99 Mike Hayes. He's in the top 5. He's been really interesting to watch tonight with his strategy role as you go on board with him, as you see the 22 in front of him. Now, if a caution does come out, I do expect Mike Hayes to be trying to get the lead and trying to get a better finish instead of a top 5, maybe go for a top 3 or possibly the win. But as it turns out right now, we are still green. And yeah, I mean, he's a pretty good driver to watch.
You can see the wheel work going on inside the cockpit of the 99 machine as he'll rocket it back down into turn numbers 3 and 4. So a lot of internal work having to be done for Mike Hayes, who wants to keep that car steady as this gap between this trio continues to shrink, and we might be seeing these guys all over each other in a second. The gap down to under 0.3 of a second was formerly at about 0.8 of a second. So these guys have been closing in on each other at a fairly rapid rate, and now looking for an over-under here potentially in the Cabela's machine. Going to be Donnie Honeycutt. Try to make a lunge on Richmond, but he's going to falter on the exit of 2.
Yes, you see these 3 battling here coming out of turn 3. I wouldn't be surprised if they start getting a little aggressive, but don't be too aggressive where you're going to wreck the driver and upset them.
Gonna hightail it down and into turn numbers 1 and 2. The 99 car still holding strong in a good way, and it's looking like it's going to be a continuously good run here for that 99 car as he'll continue to apply the pressure to Donnie Honeycutt, try to go for that podium while LeBlanc has worked out now a 3.8 second lead. And how about that? Hayes coming to pit road. He was closing, but he's going to opt to go to pit road anyway, going for the undercut strategy.
I wasn't expecting this, Nolan, but were you expecting this? Because I wasn't.
So, okay, sort of for Honeycutt, but a very big kind of sort of, right? I mean, he was the driver that made a bit of an odd pick call on the initial run that almost panned out, but I didn't expect to see him pitting this time through. So I expected him to try something, an undercut for sure, but not when you're actively closing. I wonder if maybe he did this because he wants to try to see if he can't get himself with a good run, as he's not the only one. Now it's now Donnie Honeycutt down and in for pit road as Hayes leaves a lap down.
Now that Justin and Jeremy seen them come to pit road, do you think they're going to pit next, or do you think they're going to stay out?
If I was Jeremy Richmond, I would say possibly. If I was Justin, though, I'm not so sure. You got 3.8 seconds to work with. You can afford to stay out for an extra lap or 2. And then come down and have those slightly fresher tires for the duration of the run.
Yeah, as we're closing in to lap 150 here, we got 50 more to go. Now we're winding down these laps. As you see the 99 in turn 2, he just got done finishing with his pit stop cycle, as Justin LeBlanc is still in the lead over Jeremy Richard by 3.7 seconds.
Oh boy. 99 trying for a move. He tried to look up the inside of Donnie Honeycutt. There was no room, though, so he'll have to back out. Jonathan Eason, though, caught up in a bad way. He is caught up right to lap traffic, and he's loose off of turn 4 as well. Ducks back in line after losing 2 positions, so bad run there for Jonathan Eason off of 4. That's going to allow Honeycutt and Hayes both through. Chad Rowe down and in for service.
Yeah, and what about Chad Rowe tonight? I mean, I don't think he was the strongest driver tonight I think he can do a little bit better. I mean, what do you think? What's your opinion, Nolan?
He's been a bit of a quiet driver throughout the course of the night. He hasn't been necessarily too. Hasn't done anything too noteworthy, but at the same time, he's still in a decent position overall once he finishes up his pit stops here, coming around through pit road. So hey, in order to still finish well, you got to have a clean nose, and he has certainly done that throughout the duration of this race. As Tyler Honeycutt comes into the lane. Now this is interesting because I thought Tyler Honeycutt had already come down and into pit road, but it looks like he's going to be down and in again. And yeah, he's taking right sides only. Or left sides only for the... It is 4 tires. It's been a long night so far. My brain's starting to falter a little bit, but yeah, 4 tire stop for Honeycutt.
Yeah, oh, here comes the other Honeycutt. Here comes LeBlanc, our leader, coming down pit road.
Richmond stays out. He'll lead another lap, while one of the other Honeycutts, as well as LeBlanc, down and in for service. For the final time today, we are now in the final quarter of this race. And at this point, we're really just waiting on Jeremy Richmond now, and then we'll have our pit cycle complete.
Now, I do expect Jeremy Richmond to come down pit road within the next few laps here, now that he saw everybody else go through and do their pit cycle. But I mean, is he going to do that thing where Mike Hayes stayed out? Or do you think he's going to go down pit road?
It's hard to say. I think at this point he can afford to stay out a bit longer. And I think he might try to do that and try to go for the overcut, get himself up with a decent cycle as he runs down to 3 and 4. But at the same time, you're going to have a lot of drivers that are going to be looking to apply that pressure on you as you come off of these corners. So I wouldn't want to stick around out there for too long if I was Richmond. But again, the possibility for the Roanoke driver, or for the driver of the Roanoke, Texas, is always there to make some kind of big strategy call here in the last little while. Maybe he's the one now that's hoping for a yellow flag.
I mean, if there's a yellow flag, that'd be awesome for Jeremy Richard. I mean, it would be amazing. But don't count out the 99. Now he's in 3rd place. He's in the top 3. You think he's got a shot at this?
Fight for second here between Donnie Honeycutt and Mike Hayes up on screens at the moment as we got 44 laps to go this next time by the line. Donnie Honeycutt sitting as, I believe, net race leader as it stands. So Justin LeBlanc back in 4th. Now, of course, remember these guys did pit a little while earlier, hit about 2 laps earlier than LeBlanc did, so LeBlanc not exactly far off. You see, here is the 85 car trying to hound them down and in, but this is for the net race lead as it stands. Coming down to turn 3.
And one thing I want to point out is, now that Jeremy Richards on these old Goodyears, and now everybody else did their pit cycle, so they're going to have good tires. Now, they're going to start catching up to Jeremy Richmond within maybe 15, 20 laps from now. Maybe less.
And there it is, Richmond bailing out and down to pit road. Figured he wouldn't stay out there for too long, and sure enough, the 98 car, one of the last drivers they're waiting on, is into the lane.
And with that happening now, we could have Donnie Honeycutt going to 1st and Mike Hayes going to 2nd, so that's going to be your lead.
And that is going to be how it's going to shake up, as there you go, Donnie Honeycutt into the lead from Mike Hayes. Now, what's Richmond's pace going to be like on pit exit? That's my big concern at the moment. It's got to be enough that, remember, he can get himself with a decent run in the latter portions of this race as he's going to leave pit road in the 98. And this is just turnout in the fight for the overall race lead.
And one thing I want to point out is, look who's in 3rd again. It's Justin LeBlanc, you know. Just got done pitting. He could have a chance here. He's going to want to race clean. He's going to want to stay cool, calm, collective. Try to run the best line he can here within these laps.
we'll continue to watch this battle shake on up as it'll be 40 laps to go. In about 2 laps from now, it's 41 to go as it stands, coming up to the start-finish line. Now LeBlanc, how much has he been closing in? We'll pull up the lap comparisons one more time, and there you go. Good 9/10 of a second total gain the last few laps. LeBlanc about to make this a three-way fight for the lead.
Yeah, I'm want to focus on 99 again of Mike Hayes. He is closing in on the 22. Like we said earlier in the pre-race, it's really hard to get past these honeycuts, so. As you see the 99 going down the front straightaway, trying to chase down the 22 of Donnie Honeycutt. 99 overshoots the turn. He's going to go high. He's going to get a nice run off of turn 2. He's going to still be in second, but he's closing the gap now. As you see, Justin LeBlanc also closing the gap and putting pressure on Hayes, but Hayes is putting pressure on the 22 as we speak.
Front straightaway, the 99, trying to see if he can't open up the door down to 1. He's going to run a bit too deep into the opening quarter. Here comes the 85. LeBlanc has the inside. Is it enough to commit to a move down for the inside of 3? It is not. Backs out. Tucks back in line. LeBlanc is being patient here. He's making sure that these guys can't get too far away.
Dude, don't count out LeBlanc yet. Look at that run they had on that turn. Now, as you see, it's a 3-car battle for the lead and possibly to win here. As you see, LeBlanc catching the 99 in turn 2. 99 loses a little ground from the 22, but they are going to keep it. As you see, the 99 is going to try to get around the 22. 99 is going to go high. 85 is going to go low. He's going to try to close the gap, but nothing's changing so far.
Still 0.2 of a second, and I think at this point we have to start talking again about how difficult it is to pass. It's a momentum track, and you have to try to use that momentum. DJ Honeycutt into pit road for the final time. He'll be going down 2 laps here in a minute when these guys get around. We'll keep eyes on this pack, or on this battle pack here for the lead. As to the outside goes the 85. He's trying to commit to a move, and how about this? LeBlanc gets the run off the top shelf, and he's going to be through to second place.
I was not expecting that to get a huge run on the outside there. As you see, 85, he's going to try to get past the 22. He may have a run here off of turn 2 as he... so close. The 22 is going to make an aggressive block. That is not good. But don't count out that 85. He has a really strong car. I think he might get past the 22 here as he's closing in on the 22's bumper.
Trying to get up and by Donnie Honeycutt. Justin LeBlanc going to try to look for the inside here into turn 1. Will he use the chrome horn? Not this time around, but he's going to go back to the inside to try to fight it out for the race lead.
There it is. They're going to be side by side coming out of turn 2. 85's on the inside of the 22 of Donnie Honeycutt. 85's going to have a run here off of turn 3. I don't know if it's going to be enough. Donnie goes high.
And way up high. Trying to set up I think a counter into turn 1.
And don't count out that 99 yet. He's still in the mix here. 22's going to try to get on the inside of the 85. It's not going to stick as the 85 takes the lead off turn 2.
What a drive from Justin LeBlanc to take that lead. I tell you what, that was a magnificent pass, though, that he set up on LeBlanc to make that run for the second position, and we got a bit of time here as it's going to be Mike Hayes faltering off the final corner, so we'll get a ride on board here with Justin LeBlanc. Look at this with the outside charge off to the final corner, picks us on the draft, and see you later, said Justin LeBlanc to Chad Hayes, and he almost went for it again in turn 1.
Yeah, and one thing I want to point out is look at how his car has so much grip for this turn. It's like he's got set up right. It's not too loose. It's not too tight. He's got just right to where the car wants the turn.
It was a heck of a fight for the lead there, and now I think LeBlanc's going to just run away with this one as he's already built up over a second. And that's going to leave this now the fight for second place up here on the racetrack as one of the last battles left on the racetrack.
Yeah, I think if the 2299 want to get a shot at this one, they're going to want to caution, but I think this is going to be Justin LeBlanc's race if he can pull away like he did earlier's race.
Be 30 laps to go this time by. Does Mike Hayes have what it takes to get around Donnie Honeycutt for the second position? The runner-up step on the podium. Honeycutt going to try to look. Sorry, Hayes going to try to look for the inside. Is Honeycutt going to continue to get the drive off on the high lane? I have a feeling this fight for second here might be going on for several more laps before we see a winner at this one.
Yeah, I think so too. You know, it's two drivers hungry for points. They know the championship's on the line next weekend, and they're going to give it all they got.
Oh, big send up the inside as Hayes tried to throw the Hail Mary. Didn't pan out, but it has closed in the gap. It's down to 1500s here. He makes one more dive like that. He could get a move. He's going to go for the outside. And too deep, but could set him up for three. And he's going to do just that. Gets the oh, he's too wide.
Oh, he's in a wall. He's in a wall.
And he's going to pull the car out, but big damage now on the right side.
Yeah, I think that's going to be it.
And that will bring our battle.
Hail Melon.
The battle for second coming to a smashing end right there. As the 99 car shoved up into the outside wall, and the gap is now still hovering at around 0.4 of a second, and not losing any, but kind of struggling to oh my goodness. Okay, never mind. He's not done fighting. He's not done fighting, ladies and gentlemen. He just tried to send it again into three. That car at the moment, he's going like, I didn't hear no bell. And sure enough, that bell's not going to ring for another 27 laps.
I thought it was over there when he hit the wall, but it's not over yet, apparently.
Well, they say it's not over until it's over, and Mike Hayes taking that sentiment to a new level. Usually you slap the wall that hard at New Hampshire, you're done.
Oh, yeah. I mean, let's talk about Justin LeBlanc here for a second. Look how far this gap extended to.
2 seconds. And still
I mean,
gaining.
it's just amazing how he's running off with this.
No kidding. He has been on fire so far all night tonight. And he's going to continue to pull himself out. Jonathan Eason down to pit road. Couldn't make it to the end. And Eason down and in for service in the dying laps in New Hampshire. That's going to lose Eason a lap, and that could be detrimental for the Fours race.
And that is why strategy is key, my friend.
Down and into the lane as going to take some tires while you're at it. This is going to be his last set, I do believe. Meanwhile, Honeycutt has lost more time than Hayes. And this fight for second completely reignited off of 4.
And look at the blocking that Honeycutt is doing. This is not what you want to do when there's a driver behind you with a big run like that, because it could wreck both of you. As you see, the 99 tries to go high. He's going to go high. He's going to try to get around him. He's going to go to the inside. But he's going to duck behind him still.
Tried to duck back. Didn't end up panning out, as there you see again the 22 trying to cover off the line. And Mike Hayes Once more, all over the back bumper. Gap down to 1/10 of a second. Backs it up a bit before he tries to lunge it back down into 3.
Yeah, that 22's mirror is full of Mike Hayes right now. Mike Hayes knows that second is better than third, better points. And as you see, the 99 is going to try to go high. He's going really deep into the turn. He's going to try to get a run off here, but 22 is going to try to block it.
And it's going to be a back out for Hayes as doesn't materialize for the number 99, and that might be the saving grace Donnie Honeycutt needed. He's got just over 20 laps to go. You reckon that 22 can continue to hang on?
I don't know, Nolan. It's pretty interesting how the 99 22 are fighting like this. It's using their tire wear, and it's just gonna hurt them.
"21 laps remaining at the line as Mike Hayes continues to try to reel in Donnie Honeycutt and do whatever he can to punch his ticket around the 22 Supra. It's the lone battle on the racetrack, and it is one that has been developing for a long while. We thought Hayes was out of it when he body slammed the outside wall almost 10 laps ago, but that car still very much kicking, and he's going to kick the back end out off of 4.
I think he's really pushing it now. I think he's getting a little antsy now. He knows that the laps are winding down. He wants to try to get as many positions as possible. He knows he's probably not going to get the win tonight here in New Hampshire, but second place is better than third.
Driver at attention, going to continue to try to reel in that 22. You're going to ride on board. Oh, right there, he lifts again, and he's going to scrape the wall off of 4. But this time, not enough to hinder his run. But that little lift, that's what did him in. He's getting on the power too early here. That's his big problem here. He's got to roll the center a bit more, and he would be up there by now.
Yeah, as we're on board here with Mike Hayes, you can see him trying to follow what looks like the 22's line, but it's just not working out for him. As you see, the 99's gonna, he's gaining on the 22. He gets a nice run. 22 just has that corner exit.
It is within 20 laps left to go, and he can feel that pressure now as Mike Hayes continuing to pile it on down to 0.3 of a second. That 99 car absolutely has what it takes here to make the run and pick up that second spot. He's just got to try to get a better line going. That's what's hurting him here. He probably would be by him by now if the 22, if he was able to follow the 22's line a little bit better. But the fact that he's putting so much attention to that lead foot up on quarter exit, it is what's really hurting Mike Hayes here. And you can tell it's making it no easier to try to reel in Honeycutt.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And it's hard to get around the Honeycutts. We know about this, but look at how he's blocking the 99. I mean, I feel like that's too risky within this race right now. As you see, the 99 is going to try to gas up as quickly as possible, and he is all over the bumper to the 22 again, coming down the front straightaway.
Will we see a look this time through in a 1? We do not. I think Hayes is trying to set him up for a run, right? I mean, that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to make sure that he can make one move and secure it. He doesn't want to be side-by-side for multiple laps in a row. He knows if he does that, he's going to lose out on this fight. He's got to make this one move, and he's got to make it stick. So that's what he's waiting for. They're both in too deep into 3.
Yeah, and another thing that Hayes could be waiting for is the laps to wind down to make that move.
The laps are already wound down about as much as you can get. You're down to 15 to go out of 200. You can't get much more wound down than that unless you get within 10 to go in single digits, which we're not far away from, mind you. Going for the send into turn 3. Still no room, but again, closing in on the exit of turn number 4. And the run down to 1. Again, the 99 taking the wider arc, trying to see if he can dime it off the corner, set up a run, down for turn 3. Backs off a bit, and won't be able to make the lunge this time into 3.
Oh, he's so close, too. I mean, he's trying.
While this was going on, we saw the pass for DJ Honeycutt getting up and around Dwayne Honeycutt. This was coming around off of turn number 4 as the 27 got up and too close to the outside wall. Had to lift out to avoid running into the wall. And here comes Mike Hayes now. Still trying to make the run on the 22, but every lap that passes by, I start to doubt more and more he can actually get this move done without giving him a physical shove.
Oh, yeah, for sure. As you see the 22 and 99 still battling, going into turn 3. Now, Mike Hayes, he's been impressive all day today. He had some very interesting strategy. As you see, the 99 all over the back bumper again. The 22. We're on lap 190 out of 200, and these laps are winding down fast. As you see, the 48. No, my bad. The 98 of Jeremy Richard on the back end of 99, putting pressure on Mike Hayes.
And I was about to mention, look who's been slowly creeping into the picture. Jeremy Richmond sends it to the inside, and Mike Hayes won't be able to fend him off for very long. That's what Donnie Honeycutt's hoping to see. 10 laps to go, and Jeremy Richmond fighting it out for a podium after he fell back. He won't be able to retake his race lead, but he can surely go for at least a third, maybe a second spot. But now Hayes having to work the top side, and that is allowing Donnie Honeycutt to pull it in front, and a bobble from Richmond kills any momentum he had off of 2.
Yeah, I don't even know where the 98 came from. He just started creeping up out of nowhere. As you see, 99 very high.
I think he did that on
3.
purpose. He might try to set him up here for a run off of 4.
Oh.
The crossover, but he gets too loose off the final corner. And Hayes going to tumble down now. Now, Jimmy Richmond, it's time to see what this 98 car can do. Does he have a shot to get around the 22?
I don't know. The laps are winding down fast. I don't even know if he's going to have time. As you see, he's going to try to get around the 69 here of Chad Rowe.
Chad Rowe going to swing way up and wide, just lets these guys through. This is a fight for a podium. You don't want to be getting in the way of this in the closing laps. As Jeremy Richmond continuing to reel in that gap. It's down to half a second now.
I don't know. It's something about the 98's car of Richmond. He's really good through the turns. Look how he gets that corner exit. I mean, it's pretty good. I would say it's fairly equal to how the 22's running through the turns. I don't know if he's going to gain up to.
We'll compare the lap times one final time, and we come back around to start finish this time through. Again, you see the 99 power slide off the final corner between Honeycutt and Richmond, though. It's again another small gain. A small gain, but a gain nonetheless. Richmond still has some pace. Underneath that 98 card, he still has the potential to go out and take a second spot up here. And Donnie Honeycutt still has all the potential to lose out on a top positioning here. Lap 194 come to 195.
And a gain is better than no gain.
Anything is better than nothing is, I think, a good sentiment. I think that's something all these drivers are thinking, especially Mike Hayes, who you just saw try to go for a move with Richmond, and it didn't pan out, but it came mighty close to it. Oh, both cars into the wall. Big hit to the outside wall with the 98. Well, that settles the fight for second. It's down to a fight for third. No way these guys are catching Donnie Honeycutt now.
Oh, look at the damage on the right side of the 98 there.
That was target fixation in Mike Hayes' case. Richmond wide, and Hayes just followed him right up into the wall, trying to take the same line. Now he's going to lunge to the outside.
Yeah, I think that's going to do it for second place there. Now it's about for third as the 99 gets loose again out of turn 2. He's going to go to the inside
the run
of the 98. He's going to try to, but looks like he's going to the outside.
He's got to run, and he's going to try to set himself up here for the run down to turn number 1. Donnie Honeycutt continues to sail away with 4 laps left to go. Behind, DJ Honeycutt and Chad Rowe in a scrap of their own, but we'll keep eyes on the lead line battle, and a bit of a loose moment for Donnie Honeycutt on entry is going to allow Richmond Hayes to reel in about a quarter of a second, but that gap going to quickly pull itself right back out. Oh, contact! The Bevan run! Mike Hayes runs over Richmond on corner entry. Will he hit him again on the exit? We talk about a fight getting physical. 3 laps to go. And now Jeremy Richmond, he's got a very antsy-looking Mike Hayes on his hands.
Yeah, these two have been battling. Let me tell you, it's been a great battle to watch here tonight at New Hampshire.
Two to go this time by. Mike Hayes has got to make this move now if he wants to have a shot. You see DJ Honeycutt and Chad Rowe side by side. There's the look and a block. The 98 cutting off Mike Hayes in the run down to turn 1. To the outside goes Hayes to try to get around Richmond.
There he is. He's going to take it. He's going to take that run. He's going to stay on the outside.
No!
Oh, he's in the wall.
Oh, that was dirty there from Jeremy Richmond, shoving the 99 up and into the wall.
No room to go for him.
That was uncalled for, as that was Jeremy Richmond just shoving Mike Hayes up and into the outside wall. White flag, meanwhile, for Justin LeBlanc. And what a run it has been for LeBlanc. Started in 7th, worked his way up. He led the most laps of this race by far, led pretty much every single lap of this race, save for the ones where he was off cycle with the pits. He'll enter turn number 3 at the Magic Mile, and for Justin LeBlanc, he'll come off of turn 4, and it'll be the number 85 car taking the win from New Hampshire. Honeycutt will secure 2nd, and Richmond will secure P3. Mike Hayes will have to settle for 4th, and I tell you what, if I was Mike Hayes, I would not be a very happy camper with the 98 car at all. That was a sad way to see a great fight for a podium end.
Yeah, I mean, during those last few laps, we knew there was going to be a battle happening for 3rd. But I mean, the move by Richmond, it was just not. It wasn't professional, I would say. We get it was hard racing, we understand, but to the point where you're squeezing a driver up into the wall, that is going to make them not a happy camper. So there could be a little conflict after this.
Well, for LeBlanc, he's going to burn it down on the front straightaway and immediately pin it up and into the outside wall. But what a drive here for Justin LeBlanc, taking victory here tonight after what has been an absolutely intense race here in the closing stages from the Hampshire Motor Speedway. As he celebrates on the front straightaway, we will take a jump down and we'll look at your official post-race results here tonight. It is Justin LeBlanc to take the race win ahead of Donnie Honeycutt. Kim Richmond picks up a controversial 3rd with Mike Hayes finishing it out of the lead lap in 4th. Jonathan Easton is going to be 5th with Tyler Honeycutt in 6th. DJ Honeycutt was 7th. Chad Rowe in 8th. Dwayne Honeycutt was 9th. And Stephen Hayes, the only DNF this race, we're rounding out the field way back in the 10th position. Again, what an absolutely wild, wild race that we saw here tonight, and we will get a chat with some of the drivers here after an exciting race in this one, and we'll start things off with, of course, race winner, one Justin LeBlanc, and the driver out of New Brunswick taking the race win. And Justin, for you, what a win tonight, plus 6 spots gained, and you made it look like easy street in the second half.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys.
Well, walk us through what it was like then for you as you took the race lead officially on lap 166, and from there you led every single lap from start to finish. Was it an easy race, or was it one more of endurance for you?
Yeah, it's a good race. A lot of managing. Had to manage those tires. So once I set up a little gap, I just try to manage it and try not to push my car too much. Try to save something because I knew strategy would come to play. So had to keep the car fast at the end.
And of course, you take the win by so much, and unfortunately, or actually more fortunately for you, this means you're going to be closing on up to DJ Honeycutt in the overall championship battle for that second spot, potentially even overtaking him with how low DJ finished in this race. Is the plan then, with Schaefer not showing up, to potentially go for a championship in Phoenix?
Yeah, we'll see. Try to keep it consistent. Got a string of bad luck, but this win pretty much changed the pace. So I know we were the full pack of cars, but we'll take it.
Obviously, we finish things out next week over in Avondale, Arizona at the Phoenix Raceway. It's a track that, much like New Hampshire, also very difficult to overtake at. What's your thoughts as we get set to swing it out to the season finale?
Yeah, Phoenix is definitely a tricky one. Another tire strategy there. You'll probably have to save your car to be fast at the end. Depending if there's a green flag or yellow flag, it can change the race.
It very much could, as we saw it change the race here tonight, but in a good way for you as you walk out a race winner. Congratulations on the win here tonight, Justin, and best of luck as we get set to go racing one final time over at Phoenix.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys. I'd like to give a shout out to everybody at Lone Star and everybody in this league that showed up tonight, and welcome you guys to the league. Thanks for broadcasting.
As driver out of Moncton, New Brunswick for Lone Star Racing, Justin LeBlanc taking the race win here tonight after what was an absolutely insane race. We'll move things on down to the 22 car. Donnie Honeycutt taking it up in second place, and, well, you're standing by with our runner-up.
What's up, Nolan? How you doing, Daniel?
I'm good. Hey, Donnie, congratulations on getting your top 3 finish tonight here at New Hampshire. I want to know, what were you feeling from the 99 during those few last laps?
Man, I was feeling a lot of pressure, especially after I got into him early in the race and put him in the wall. So I figured he was going to try to pay me back a little bit, but me and Michael, we're good friends. All the Hazes and the Honeycutt's are good friends, so we race each other pretty hard and pretty clean. So, but I was still a little worried. But yeah, he put the pressure on me there. I seen him get in the wall a couple times after that, so I guess he was trying to run a little too hard.
Well, I want to say, Donnie, you and the 99 have put on a fantastic show during those few last closing laps, and I want to congratulate you on a top 3 finish. I can't wait to see you down at Phoenix. I can't wait to see what you can do down there.
Sounds good, Daniel. I appreciate it. And sorry for the long green flag. Well, not a green flag, but the long broadcast, I should say, because we usually don't run this long of a race. But we didn't think it was going to take this long. But anyway, I apologize. But it won't happen again. So we're going to back our laps up a little bit going future, so we won't run this long.
Yeah, I mean, I've enjoyed it. It's my first broadcast with you guys' network, and I can't wait to continue.
Absolutely. We appreciate you guys coming on board and doing the broadcasting for us, and looking forward to Phoenix next week.
All right, can't wait to see you there. Good luck next week at Phoenix.
All right, thank you.
That was Donnie Honeycutt, driver of the number 22 car, going to be our runner-up for the course of the night. And that'll move things on down to one Jeremy Richmond, the final driver on the podium. And, well, Jeremy, we'll address first the elephant in the room. The fight for fourth came right down to 3 laps to go. It was looking all set. You guys are going to have a good fight. And then that door-to-door contact sees the 99 on the wall, and you coast away to a third-place finish.
Yeah, just hard racing by teammates. I mean, caught him from 11 seconds back. Car was really tight there. He got into me a couple of laps before we both got tight. I mean, I went slow in the center of the corner on purpose to try to be able to come off the corner straighter. I been kind of looking at the replays. I don't know. We both could have gave each other some room there. It's just hard racing in my mind. This is more of a short track than people want to admit. It's just fun. It was fun racing. Justin was checked out. I had to try to do something. I was good on the short run there. So I just had to run it long on that second to last stint, try to maximize my lap times.
And you mentioned, of course, having to run it long. It was a long race tonight, one where strategy was very, very prevalent throughout the duration of it. Why don't you walk us through what the strategy game was like and how that develops throughout the course of such a long race like this?
I think that first run there, you have to kind of see what you got. I actually thought I had a really good car at the start, but for some reason, I had my brakes set for max pressure for Coda this weekend. I have a couple of leagues I have to race Coda, so that was making me enter the corner way too hot, and I didn't realize that until halfway through that first run. So for me, it was just trying to manage from there, and then that second run, I tried to try to get slower on entry, but it just didn't work. I was just way too slow for the whole run there, so I just had to drive it hard and hope for the best. Justin had a decent car on the short run, but you could see him and DJ could just check out. If DJ wouldn't have that penalty there, it would have been them two fighting for the win.
We look up to Phoenix over in Avondale next week. Obviously, for you, you enter this season a little bit late, so not quite in the contention for the championship here this one, but you can still go and get a few more positions here before season's end. Do you think you'll be back in force, though, to contend for a title next season?
We'll have to see what the schedule's going to look like. I have a couple of other leagues. Just, we'll have to play it out. I don't know. If I can make every week, I'll have a shot at it. But these guys there's some good guys in here. There was some people in here that didn't run tonight that are really good, saving tires and stuff. So you just got to kind of play it by ear. I'm not slow by any means, but I still have a lot of work to do as far as trying to save tires. And you'd never like to get into teammates, but we'll go back and talk about it. I think it was just hard racing. It was fun. He was frustrated with his car after the contact early with the 22, kind of left him with some engine damage, so he was only able to really make gains in the corners. So, it was just a frustrating race.
Well, hopefully it'll be a little bit less frustrating when we get set to close everything out next week over at the Phoenix Raceway in Arizona. Thanks for joining us up here tonight, Jeremy. Congratulations on that third-place finish.
Yeah, appreciate it, guys. Thanks for the broadcast. I'm going to go back and watch now.
It was Jeremy Richmond joining us up here in the number 98 car as the last podium driver here tonight, and that's almost going to be a wrap then for us here from Loudon, New Hampshire. And my goodness, again, what a race that we have had so far here tonight. And I have to say, I think this could have been it was a great race for us to start us off here for the OTSS, and I think we're all looking forward to seeing what we can do for us here in 1 week's time at Phoenix.
Yeah, I totally agree, Nolan. It was a great race, great first broadcast for me. Can't wait for the next one. I will be joining the Truck Series broadcasts for that season, and I can't wait. It's been an exciting race today, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen next week at Phoenix for the championship race here in the Xfinity Series.
You can join us same time, same place here on a Thursday night for the season finale of the Off Throttle Sim Series Xfinity Series season finale of the Phoenix Raceway. And be sure to also tune in to this Saturday at 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Pacific, where the VRX Climax World Cup returns over to the Chicagoland Speedway for their second-to-last race of the season. For now, though, it is time to close. So here from Loudon, New Hampshire, the New Hampshire Motor Speedway, my name is Noel Rempel with one Daniel Paulus Jr. beside me in the broadcast booth. Thank you so much, everybody, for taking the time to join us here on what has been an amazing Thursday night of racing. You've been watching Green Flag TV. We'll see you all in the next one.